What's up, guys? We're here at the Outdoor Range 55 and 100. I have the new FX Panthera or Panthera, whatever they call it. I've seen a couple different spellings on the gun. I think Keith's is Panthera or something, but whatever that is, it's still going to run you $2K. They're pretty consistent about the price. But yeah, I got a 25 cal, 700 mil barrel. I want to go over first impressions, some of the packaging, cocking mechanism, trigger, shot count, weight, sound report, all that kind of stuff. Do some groups with some 40 grain slugs and kind of play around with some different ones. I got a bunch of different slugs. See how it groups at 55, maybe pull it out to 100. And also I want to maybe talk about, or guys, show you, my gun was damaged when it was shipped a little bit. And it wasn't due to the person who sold me the gun. It's actually maybe a design flaw in the packaging. I'll show you, because I've noticed with a few other people's rifles, if you look at certain parts, you'll kind of notice maybe a little ding here and there. And then I had a friend or two that I've talked with that said the same thing, like, hey, have you noticed this with this package? And he's like, oh yeah, it's this part is. So we'll go over that at the end, but let's get the target set up and see what we can do with this rifle. All right, so the trigger feels nice. It's kind of hunting target quality. It's not total target like a day state where it's 0 pounds, 8 ounces or something. It feels like a pound and a half to 3 pounds maybe. Condor wise is really up there. So just make a note that it's right in the middle between. It's got a nice mix. Length of the gun is nice. The sound report, and if you take into consideration, sound report's fairly decent without a silencer on it. Yeah, that's pretty loud. It makes my ear ring over here. So yeah, it's not that all that silent. So sound report, you're gonna want a can on it. I'm gonna shoot it without a can today just to make sure we're not messing with any of the accuracy. And yeah, it fits a little loose. I don't know. All right, I want to be particular about this, guys. Rings. You're gonna have to have some high rings on here. I got lucky with this design, but most of the guys that are getting this, they need to have like 1.5 inch scope rings over this to put it over there, because you're just not going to match it up. So that's one of the things you just got to make sure you're cognizant when you buy your gun. I put this on as an emergency just to get it down range today. But if you're going to do that, you got to be forewarned that you're going to need some extra gear. It's just not point and shoot, kind of like the bullpups and that. Okay, its shoulder's nice, feels good in the vise, feels very stable. Yeah, the cocking mechanism, I think, as I mentioned, a little stiff. It kind of feels between the Maverick and the FX Impact. It just feels a little bit, I don't know, not quite as smooth as the Impact. Maybe that'll work its way in. I'm not sure on how all the linkages and everything else set up. I haven't looked into that, but yeah, let's do some refilling and look at some groups as you get going with this. All right, guys, I'll show you where the damage occurred with the shipping and that. And let's see if we can flip around here. I'll just give you a spot on this. As you can see right here, the damages to this guy, that second. And I've seen some other scratches going on with other people's rifles. The packaging is just too thin in the box. So it literally, the gauge is going up against the box. There's such a thin line of foam there that when they drop it or do anything, that's what happened. This actual lens came off and yeah, it popped off. So Tom's sending me a new one, but just know, look for that on other people's reviews. Just check out the gauges and see if you see a little scratch or something like that. I was gonna put in some information to FX or somebody like that. Hey, you guys need to kind of beef that up. It's a simple fix for that. Just know, like some guy at UPS, he probably dropped it from 5 feet, and that's the first thing that hit the box without any styrofoam on it. But yeah, there we go. Let's get into shooting. All right, guys, I'm back. You've seen some of the shooting. There's a guy shooting at 223, and it was right loud. And anyway, I got a bunch of different groups. So before I show you the groups, you've seen some of the shooting. Let me just say, the gun is rock solid in a bench rest. It's rock solid on there. The trigger feels great. The mag is a little bit sloppy in there. It feels, I'm not too crazy about that. I can bypass that. But overall, I would say it's great. They have an issue with shipping this. There's not enough foam comfort down by the gauges, and that's where my gauge got kind of damaged and beat up a little bit. I'm supposed to be getting a new one, as I mentioned. But overall, the groups were shockingly not good. And so I'm gonna show you this. You guys have seen some of this. These groups, and this isn't some kind of hit job preview like, oh, I'm an FX hater. No, every FX gun I've bought out of the box has been outstanding. They really have. I wouldn't call this outstanding. I would say I need to work on this. Like some of the groups, they're okay. Like some of this stuff, 36.2 Nielsen's were the best. There was like no wind today down here. There's just like not a whole lot of wind. We should have been printing a lot tighter groups. And so I tried JSB knockouts, FX slugs, Nielsen 36.2, Zan 40s, Nielsen 34.9s, pellets. I even tried the pellets, and yeah, it was kind of like I was in no man's land with this stuff. You got to realize, like, it's tuned hot, so the pellets and those FX slugs that I'm shooting, those aren't going to group because those were probably going 1080. And then the Zan 40s were going 960. So I got all this different stuff. I really kind of need to get in and get to nuts and bolts and figure out. I'm going to clean the barrel. I was shooting without the moderator on just to make sure I was taking that out of the equation. And so that's kind of what I seen. I was shooting with the moderator and without, and it didn't really matter. I went through a lot of rounds today, and that's just it. I'm just going to go back through this and set up. So the initial preview, good gun, feels solid. Like I said, the mag feels a little bit iffy. The cheek rest could be a little bit deeper. You could raise it up a little bit more. It feels a little chintzy, but overall, for a bench gun or something, it feels really good. It's just out of the box. I wish I knew what to set up, and maybe with the way that I received it, with the reg pushed up, that maybe someone already had something in mind that they should be shooting, and it'd be a little bit better, and I just didn't have the right projectile. But I'm gonna pull the reg down. I'm gonna do all this kind of stuff and rework the rifle and figure it out. We're gonna come back. We'll be successful. But right now, you guys seen it right out of the box. I guess have something in mind. You know, I wouldn't even care if right out of the box that it was a tendency to shoot 26.2 FX slugs at 900 feet per second, like their base model, 70 shots. And if they could get that down accurate right out of the box, hey man, not too bad slug gun there. But yeah, we're going to leave it as is. You got comments, questions below. And I kind of feel bad that I couldn't like show you guys really good groups and say, you know, it's just awesome. It is what it is, guys. So see you next week.